We all know someone who seems unshakable, like a fortress. Today I want to tell you the story of one of those people, a man we'll call Roberto. At 68, he thought he was too strong to get sick, and because he thought that, he pushed his health to the absolute limit. His story is a powerful warning about how our own body can become our enemy, and more importantly, how we can make a comeback. The illusion of strength. Roberto had always been the pillar of his family, the kind of man who never complained, who could change a flat tire in the pouring rain and be up at 6 a.m. the next day. In his mind, he was made of iron. His thought process was always the same. It's nothing, I can handle it. And with this certainty, he allowed himself everything. Poorly slept nights to finish a project, greasy barbecues on Sundays, sugar in his coffee without measure. He simply desired to continue living this life without interruption, without weakness. Image suggestion. A man smiling, eating a piece of cake at a family party, looking robust and happy. The before picture, the first whispers of illness, but his body began to whisper. First, with a tiredness that wasn't from work. It was a heavy fatigue that clung to his soul and wouldn't dissolve with a good night's sleep. Then came the strange migrating aches, one day in his shoulder, the next in his knee. Roberto, in his stubbornness, would think, it's just age catching up, it's normal. But a sadness began to creep in. A subtle melancholy because he no longer had the same vigor and didn't understand why. His desire was simple, to have his old energy back. Image suggestion. Roberto sitting on the edge of his bed early in the morning, hand on his back, with an expression of pain and fatigue as daylight streams through the window. The crisis, the body at war. And then, the whisper became a scream. On a seemingly normal Tuesday, Roberto's body declared war on itself. It wasn't a heart attack, it wasn't a stroke. It was something more terrifying. His immune system, his army of defense, became confused and started attacking everything. His joints burned like fire, his fever spiked uncontrollably, and breathing became a monumental task. In the hospital, surrounded by white lights and beeping machines, Roberto's mind was a whirlwind of fear and regret. What have I done to myself? Why didn't I take care of myself? The sadness was overwhelming. He looked at his hands and didn't recognize them. His desire was no longer about being strong. It was about surviving to see his granddaughter's next birthday. Image suggestion. A more abstract image, blurry hospital lights, a close-up on Roberto's face with an oxygen mask, showing the fear in his eyes. The triumph, rebuilding the ruins. The acute phase passed, but it left a trail of destruction. Roberto returned home a different man, weak, defeated, with a sadness that made him weep in silence. He felt like a ghost in his own house. The triumph wasn't a magical moment, it was a decision. One day, sitting on his porch watching his granddaughter play in the garden, a new thought emerged, not of regret, but of purpose. I am not just going to survive, I am going to live. Again, the right way. That was the first day of his new life. The journey was long, but now he had a reason. Image suggestion. Roberto sitting, looking through a window at a child playing in the garden. On his face, a mix of sadness, but with a flicker of determination. Roberto understood that he needed to rebuild his fortress, but this time, brick by brick, with the right materials. He followed 5 steps that transformed his life. Step 1. Peace on a plate. The first thing was food. He felt anger and sadness when he opened the fridge and saw everything he couldn't have anymore, but his desire to live was greater. He discovered new flavors and colors, the dark green of spinach, the vibrant orange of carrots, the red of strawberries. Every meal became an act of healing. He would think, I am nourishing my defenses, not just filling my stomach. Image suggestion. Roberto's hands preparing a colorful and vibrant salad, with a focus on fresh ingredients. Step 2. The sanctuary of sleep. Roberto used to think sleep was a waste of time. Now, he saw sleep as the body's repair shop. He created a sacred ritual. He would turn everything off, have his chamomile tea, and in the silence, be grateful for the day. Insomnia and anxiety gave way to a deep sleep he hadn't experienced in years. Image suggestion: a dark, cozy room with only the soft light of a lamp illuminating a cup of tea on the nightstand. Step 3. The movement that frees. The idea of exercise terrified him, but he didn't need to run a marathon. He started with a 5-minute walk on his porch. At first, every step was an effort, but over time, the walk became his moment of freedom, of feeling the sun on his face and his body responding. The sadness of weakness was replaced by the joy of progress. Image suggestion: Roberto walking slowly in a park with a slight smile, observing the nature around him. Step 4. The silence that strengthens. He learned that his anxious mind and negative thoughts were like poison. He began to practice silence, just sitting and breathing for a few minutes. At first, his mind was a storm of regrets, but slowly he found calm. And in that calm, his body also found peace to heal itself. Image suggestion: a close-up of Roberto's face, eyes closed, with a serene expression. The background can be slightly out of focus. Step 5. The water of life. One of the simplest things, yet one he neglected the most. He placed a pitcher of water on his living room table with the goal of finishing it by the end of the day. He imagined every sip cleansing the toxins and inflammation, hydrating every cell in his body, and giving him new life. Image suggestion: Roberto filling a glass of water from a glass pitcher containing lemon and mint and drinking it with satisfaction. Today, at 70, Roberto is not just a survivor. He is stronger, more mindful, and more grateful for life than he ever was. His journey, which began in the deepest sadness, became his greatest source of strength. His story is a gift to us, a map so that we don't make the same mistake. If you've been inspired and are ready to take care of your own garden, I invite you. Write "Challenge accepted" in the comments below and take the first step today. Let's start this journey together.